Well, hello there and welcome to Travels with Geordie. If this is your first visit, my name is Peter Knowles and I live on this classic wooden motor cruiser currently here in Genoa Bay, British Columbia, along with the loving memory of my pup Geordie, all the while fixing it and others up in anticipation of some pretty ambitious cruising. If that's the sort of thing that you might find interesting, please consider sticking around and subscribing. I'd love to have you. Well, it's early and we're on the move. We're going to move Geordie off this dock and put it on a mooring ball over there by the entrance to the marina, and in anticipation of bringing Poem out of the shed with the generous help of the manager here at the marina and his workboat. And we're going to bring Poem all the way around to this work dock where she'll get the last few little bits, which is basically painting the cabin top and some varnish, getting it ready to go on the ball in storage in anticipation of MV Zephyrs coming up in a day to go into the shed for the summer. Wait, I can't move Poem yet. I still have to finish the work on her in the shed. I don't know how I got ahead of myself here. Jump back in time, get that done, catch up to where we are now. Well, welcome back. It seems sort of funny to say this because, of course, the last episode ended only just a few hours ago, but here we are. Now, it's getting a bit pressing for time. I think I may have mentioned that I have to vacate the shed for the arrival of MV Zephyrs in the middle of this coming week. So I only have a couple more days. Plus, I have to juggle a lot of boats, get back to Victoria and bring Zephyrs back up here. But Poem's not really ready to go outside. So I have a strategy. It's a simple strategy, and perhaps it's one that all of you are very familiar with, and that's deferring certain elements of the project that don't need to be done while the boat is indoors. Now, if it was to rain, things get a little more complicated. However, we're into summer in British Columbia. In fact, we're in a heat wave. We have no rain for at least a week or two, so I'm going to be okay. What I need to do is get stain on it because I don't want to do stain outside in the sun. It will dry way too fast and it'll be impossible to work with. So I have to move along all the things that allow me to finish stain in here essentially today. That means the foredeck is not going to make it. But here comes the solution. The foredeck is mahogany on this boat, so it can't be left raw like a teak deck could be. And I'm sort of sad about that because it would be really nice to have a nice teak foredeck on here. But then I got to thinking, I can't stain it yet because I still have to do all the work to it. What if I only stain the rest of the boat and the covering boards here as if it was a teak deck, and then I stain this a contrasting color, perhaps some kind of aged gray. Maybe I'll bleach. Anyway, what I'm going to do is leave this for now, clean it up, and then stain the covering boards so that everything is ready in anticipation of whatever it is I do with the deck, and that allows me to take the boat outside and in the next day or so get some varnish on it, which means it's now safe. Of course, I haven't talked about this big gaping hole in the front of the boat yet. Well, that just means some sanding and some scraping and some prep. I should be able to deal with that because it's pretty straightforward. It's this deck reefing that's just going to take so much time. Time to get to work. You might say, all right, Peter, you ready for staying? Well, that would be too easy because, well, while working over here, I don't know why I hadn't noticed it before, this massive gap down here. And in fact, all of this should probably get sealed as well. So at least one more round of sealant. But that's not really the end of the world because I got to finish reefing at least the seams that separate the covering boards with the deck, and I still have to refinish the windows. So there's lots to do today, and well, the day is running out. I want to talk about this technique of reefing. You'll notice I am actually levering against the bottom of the seam to pull out this cotton and caulking. Well, there's only a few places you can do that. You have to do it where there's a bottom. In other words, where there's a rabbet. And I know there's a rabbet in here because of the way this is made, much like the way a hood end is on a boat, where there's a rabbet at the stem. Now, you mustn't do that between planks because the planks just meet in a V in the bottom, and then there's nothing in behind to support that. So if you run a reefing tool of some sort, this is my homemade gardening tool, and you press against the bottom, you're just gonna punch through and break up the inside edge of the two planks, which you do not want to do because then it won't hold cotton well. So you can cheat and do this lever action here, but only where there's a solid bottom. And believe me, I need to do this because this is a mess. And good morning. Well, this is the last push day. If I don't have stain on the boat today, I will be in serious trouble. I think I mentioned yesterday that I am going to treat the foredeck as a separate area. In other words, I'm going to stain to the edge of the covering board here and do something else with the foredeck because I can't do it today for sure because I spent another couple of hours reefing and I didn't get all that much done. It's very, very slow work. Okay, so I just have to sand off these last little bits of sealant that I put on yesterday and do some dust management and vacuuming and stuff like that, and we'll start getting some stain on here. That's what I'm saying now. Is that really what's going to happen? Yeah. These are about done. Looking good. Let's see what we can do about you here. Like Christmas. Well, okay, it's that time. I better not find anything else I need to do because I'm starting with the stain and it's going to be a frenzy. One long continuous wet edge, at least each side. And then I'll take a break. I'll clean that little repair up. Hopefully it's looking reasonably well and we'll do the other side. Ugh. I am so pleased with this stain. It's just, and I love the contrast with the foredeck, a different color, lighter. I'm not quite sure what it'll be, but it's gonna be great. Now this is new and it's Sapele mahogany, so it doesn't get stained, it just gets oil. So let's get it on here. But I can certainly say I am absolutely thrilled with the way this turned out. The color is perfect. Bowsprit looks great. I love the contrasting deck. I'm not quite sure what color it's going to be, but it won't be the same as this. It'll be lighter. I just love the color. I mean, it's really, really hard to see in this light, but it's just absolutely fabulous. I never did get around to refinishing this door, so that's why it doesn't match. So there's a little project for tomorrow. And of course, I still have to stain the windshield sections, but I think this is good enough for today. Good morning. Well, as wonderfully pleased I am with everything going on here, I am unpleased with what I'm about to tell you. I can't possibly justify the time and the energy required to and redo this deck completely right now. So I am going to temporarily repay it. In other words, just seal it up with 291, Sikaflex 291, which is the cheaper of the two and will last for a while, and call it done with a little bit of varnish. And it's a separate project some other time. I just cannot imagine. It's a week's worth at least, and I just don't have that right now. So I'm sure you're all as disappointed as I am about that, but the boat has to go outside like today. Somehow I neglected to refinish the port side wheelhouse door. So anyway, we can attend to that relatively quickly. All right then. Mild steel screws. I debated and debated and debated whether the hatch was going to be stained to match the deck or stained to match the rest of the boat. And well, I've settled on the rest of the boat, which means I can do it today. But first, gotta finish stripping it. And here we go again. Well, as I have to be able to tow and moor a poem in the next, well, few hours actually, I have to put some cleats and some chocks back on. Aren't these just the most beautiful set-in chocks you've ever seen? Of course, this is not a permanent installation because I'll have to take them back off again to varnish, but I do have to make sure I can securely moor the boat in the meantime. Oh gosh, doesn't that bronze and mahogany look great? Okay, now speaking of bronze and mahogany, check this out. Isn't that a beaut? Now, to be fair, this was a gift to me from some very fine people that originally intended it for Geordie. I think it might be a bit small for Geordie, and it's just perfect for here. There was just a tiny little cleat here before that really was substantial, was insubstantial. So I'm going to actually put this beautiful big Samson post here and find another one, maybe a little bit bigger for Geordie. Sadly, all I have for now is some galvanized legs, but I am planning a nice big bronze order in the near future, so hopefully we can upgrade this poor thing to some lovely bronze bolts. Now, what I'm going to do is pin it on this corner and then take a straight edge, which I'll go get, and set it against here to confirm it's as straight as I thought it was by eye. That is nice, 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 nice. Beauty! Gosh, that just looks so perfect there. Except for these, but. Well, with Poem just about ready to leave the shed, and coming to an end of being able to actually make any sawdust in this shed, because it's going to be a home for the next 4 months, there's a couple little things I need to do, and that's make some patches for these two holes. And basically they're just round mahogany plugs, and that will do for now. These two holes are for the switches for the windlass, and they'll go back in, so no problem there. This, of course, is the Plath windlass that was on the boat when it was gifted to me, and which is now on Geordie. I think there's a possibility the Plath will come back here, to tell you the truth. But anyway, more on that later. Up here is the big bow roller and a rope fair lead, and that big bow roller that was on here may also go away because I was able to secure on eBay a rather nice bronze one. Anyway, we'll see about that. So we're getting pretty close to being able to move her out of here. Get this to pick up where I left off. These will be fastened from below so that there's no need for any screws or bungs or anything on top. There we go. And now that I've caught up to where we can move home, let's get on with doing it. Alright, she's all set to go. Lines are on, fenders are on. This will be the first time Pome's been out of the shed since well, October or so, anyway. And here we have Geordie in the shed. I'm sorry I didn't get to show you any of that. Had a camera battery malfunction issue. Okay, so Geordie's only in here to load up all my gear, which is all of those bins, all of those tools and bins and storage, and yeah, lots of gear, lots of gear. Okay, let's get to it. Hello and welcome to the Travels with Geordie Beer of the Week, coming to you this week from the lovely aft cabin of MV Pome, now outside here in Genoa Bay. Let's get straight to the beer because it's hot and I would really love a sip. This is a Tofino brewery from Tofino, way up on the coast. It's the Tough Session Ale, and this was gifted to me by a fine fellow who cruised into the bay the other day in a monk and rode over and just handed me this. I guess he'd seen the show and I neglected to get his name, so I feel quite bad about that, but if I see you again or let me know, I can thank you properly. But I'm definitely going to enjoy this. It is hotter than heck here today. I haven't had this before. It is just perfect. It is so bright and crisp. Session ale is always so nice in the heat, isn't it? On a terrace. Oh gosh, this is gonna go really well. Okay. This week I have to catch up with some lovely gifts that have been sent to me, both from the Amazon wish list and some that came directly. So let's jump right into it. I don't have a table here today, so putting things up and down is a little more difficult. Beautiful, beautiful Klein screwdrivers. This one is a small Phillips #1, which I've needed for a while, and this is the little interchangeable stubby, which of course Neil Groskopf, who gifted me both of these, saw that I had a need of one in an episode recently working in the wheelhouse here, as well as a few other people actually who were going to get credit in the upcoming episodes. Anyway, thank you ever so much, Neil. Those are great, great screwdrivers. Also, it's been here a little while, and these are these lovely Edison-based 12-volt old style bulbs that are going to be in all the light fixtures here inside in Pome. Now I had bought some, but they only had 2 filaments in them and they weren't bright enough. These ones have 4 filaments and they're going to be just beautiful, and that came a whole box of them, so I'm quite excited about that. However, these came without any indication of who sent them, as did 2 more big spools of the LED lighting that I'm using in the aft cabin. Now this is the chip on board, COB. I think that's the acronym. Anyway, these are the ones that look like a continuous strip of light that I used later in the aft cabin, not the little dots I used in the forecastle, in the wheelhouse. And I think these probably were gifted to me so that I can replace the ones in the wheelhouse so that they look beautiful all through the boat. Anyway, these are really, really quite nice. However, I do have a tip on using them that I will bring up when I install these, because there's a bit of a trick that you probably need to know. Anyway, thank you all for your gifts. Again, all the LEDs came without any indication who sent them, so please, if it was you, let me know. Now, Patrick Hodra who has been very generous on many times, sent me these beautiful plastic push sticks. Now I owe Patrick a massive apology because these came quite some time ago and I promptly misplaced them. However, I'm very glad to have them. Every time I've used the table saw since I've gone, I wish I knew where those push sticks were. These are pretty fancy rubber base with a little catch to push through. I think these are just going to be great for so much work I do, and I have a fleet of them. So again, Patrick, thank you ever so much. Where's my beer? To cheers, all you kind people. And again, Patrick, so sorry it took so long to find them again, but I'm glad I have them. Cheers. This is really a nice beer. Okay, that pretty much wraps it up. Now, you need a word of the week. And the word of the week is going to represent something that's been a bit frustrating, which I'll just allude to. And that's the stain that I put on the cabin sides. I kind of botched it. I'll tell you all about it next time, or the time after, or whenever I tell you. So the word this week is frustrating. Frustrating. I'm quite frustrated about it. It's going to be okay, but in the meantime, it's frustrating. Cheers. Sorry.